Alright, Levi, we're going to be going over some more Unclouded Day stuff. And I've got to change these strings. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a lot of corrosion right here. Probably see where the strings are kind of dying. I've really got to change this. But anyway, this one might be just a little bit short. I've got to go to a lesson later on today, and instead of making this wait till tomorrow, I'd rather just go ahead and get it out of the way today. And maybe I can get it to you by tomorrow, or just shoot a quick email to you so that you can start watching it when it's uploaded. So far we've went over the basic shape that we talked about last week or the last time. I hope you've been practicing that. I hope you've been able to get a lot out of that, and we're just going to keep developing different things about that. Not sure, I haven't watched the video all the way through, but I may have mentioned, I'm not sure if I did or not, that you can take that shape up 1, 2, let's see, 3 frets. Okay, so if I didn't, then let's just go over that just a little bit right now. So, that's just basic stuff right there that you can work on, and not have any problems at all. Notice my finger was bleeding or something. So anyway, you can take that. You just have to envision in your mind the whole idea behind aiming for that 4th fret there. And it's going to be, if you have dots here at the 3rd fret, which most people do, it's going to be right past there, and aiming for your first finger to hit where that dot is on the 3rd fret. Now you can aim for just one note, but a lot of times I aim and just bar right here. That way I can go straight to the next few strings and not even have to hit that B string. I can just go and then just walk it down as I need to. Now, the trick to getting to this next part is you're going to be aiming for your middle finger to actually hit the dot. And that's going to be on the 7th fret. So it's going to be, if you have a dot here and here, it's going to be the 1, 2, 3rd dot. Okay, and that's going to be on the 7th fret. So wherever you're at, okay, now that's if you want to lead with your middle finger. If you want to lead with your first finger, then you got to aim for just behind the dot. But typically I lead with my middle finger, and because it allows me to start from the bottom and go all the way to the top. So that's a cool little lick right there. And you may not be able to use it within the song. I don't know. A lot of licks you just pick up and you try to work them in as much as you can. You can a lot of times you can't use the full lick, and so sometimes you'll just do this. You'll just do part of it. So in this case, we're aiming for the middle dot here, this dot on the 7th fret, and then we're going to have on either side of that, we're going to have the 6 and the 8. And then there's we'll aim for the dot here from the 6th to the 7th fret, and then land back with our ring finger on the 8th fret. Typically when I do that, I do have this barred. That way in case I need to come back, I can come back if I need to, and not have to worry about hitting an open B string. So a lot of times you can go, a lot of times you can hit that open G once you reach the bottom 2 strings. And you just move around and just experiment with before and after notes. So if this is the first note on this string, you can go before. And then you can come back from here, come back one. And a lot of times you can slide or you can use your pinky. And usually to end that, I'll just slide down 2 steps from the 5th to the 7th, or the 7th to the 5th. and then I'll hit that open G string, and then 3rd to 4, and then open again. And that's a really good bluesy bluegrass thing, is we're going from major to minor. So if we were to use this in the song, let's see what I can apply this to. Like for instance, let's say you're going to establish the melody. You're just going to play through the verse normal, and then you'll play through the chorus with a little bit more flair and a little bit more extra stuff like this. So let's see what that would sound like. Okay, so you can see how I use that, just trying to stay in time within the little frame that you're inserting that in. It's important to know how to get into licks and how to get back out of licks. A lot of times those open string transitions really make a big difference. So that open G. Okay. So right now what's happening is you're extending now your reach beyond the 5th fret, and you're going all the way to the 8th fret. You got 6, 7, 8. So we're taking that same shape. We're not learning anything different than we did the last time, and we're actually increasing the ability to play more without having to worry about learning new things. The only new thing that really you have to learn, if you get used to this shape and you keep it under your fingers and get that muscle memory developed, the only thing you have to learn now is the new position it's in, which you can see it's about halfway between the headstock and the end of the fretboard here. So we've already moved halfway up the neck with basically no effort whatsoever. A lot of times the hardest thing is trying to figure out how to get here, because you think, well, I've got to know notes in between. Necessarily, you don't really have to. I can start from the top here. And I can just slide from half step back or a whole step back. So there's your G, there's your root. And this is the thing you hear a lot, like if you're playing E, you use that same shape up here in this position. And you can use that here. Okay, so I'm just going from the and I'm just keeping that little shape there and creating like a little F shape to give me that G chord that I need right there at the beginning at the 3rd fret. Okay, so that's one thing you can incorporate into that. Let's see what else I can come up with. Now, I hope I'm not repeating myself. There's a couple things that I've been working on with another student in the key of G with a different song, and one of the shapes that I went over, I think, with him. So what I'm saying is I don't want to confuse what I'm doing with him and repeat what I'm doing, just in case I'm thinking I've taught him something when I've actually taught you something. So pardon me if I do that. I haven't had time to check, a lot of the videos that we've went over. Usually I get to, but I haven't had a lot of time today. So I'm not sure if we went over that or not. And that is another shape here that we can use in G. Okay, so we've got this. And that's the major E sound. And for the minor sound, we got this same shape as we did up here. It's a whole step, 2 frets apart. So 3 1 3 1, and then instead of doing the whole putting your middle finger down here, you're going to use your ring finger right there, and you can use it to slide if you need to. That's a lick right there. It doesn't sound really. Ooh, that sounds too much like a scale or an exercise. It actually sounds pretty neat, pretty basic. Especially when you add that in there, that'll slide. And so you can do that, or so we've got the same shape on the first and second strings, the same notes on the G and the D string. Third fret open, third fret open, and then that exact same shape we started with right here on the third and fourth fret of the E and A string. Now I want you to notice something that's really cool here. Even if we went over that, I don't remember if it was with you or the other student, but even if we went over this part, I haven't shown this part, and this is really cool. You begin to learn patterns, you begin to recognize sounds that sound very similar higher up the neck that you might be aware of lower on the neck. And this is one of them. And that's the same thing as what we did up here. Okay, so we got so it's really cool when you mimic yourself like that. You can go up here. Okay, so and you just fiddle around with that until you can find something new, and you can find anything that has a nice ring to it. So you can do something up here, or you can start down here. And just back and forth. Get used to switching the position. Even if it's not really musical right now, even if you can't really play it in an unclouded day, get used to getting yourself outside of this comfort zone of now being on the 5th fret. Don't be afraid to be up here and just kind of noodle around. You may not know how to get back down, may not know what notes to go to, but as long as you got the same shape and you can come down 2 frets, then you got an open string to take care of the rest of it. Or you can do this high part here, so we can do this. Now we did that shape, but here's the other part. That's a really, really handy pull-off, and a lot of people use that. A lot of people think G is this. When I think G, I think this, but I also think this one right here. Once again, that's another similar shape. Back up here at the 7th fret. This is the 8th fret E string. This is the same sound as this. Or we can go, or even slide, and then use this ring finger, a middle finger, to hit that note. So we got 3 places we can use that already, and we can just figure out where we can place some of these licks in Unclouded Day. So instead of me sitting here gabbing and showing you this stuff, let's see how we can put this in the song. Now once again, we may not use the whole lick. We may just use something like that. We can use all the lick, part of the lick, whatever works, and let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3. slow that down on YouTube and figure out how I did that, but basically I'm using this shape, and then I'm coming straight to that B string. Actually, it's not first fret, but it's going the second fret to this. So we're going from the first fret, third fret, and then we have to lift this up to make that hammer on. What happens there is, as we lift, we kind of kill the string anyway. And we got to get this ready right here. So that's second finger, third finger, second fret, third fret, and then. And what I'm doing when I hit this note, I'm barring it so that I can be ready to do that right there part. So it's straight down to that G string on the third fret. And after I hit that G, I'm going to keep holding this down, the B string, because I'm going to come back up and hit that. I call that a backtrack, when you hit a previous note like that. And then back on the G, it's a slide open. And then you can just throw a G run in there. A lot of times I use this D at D second fret or third fret as the one note that connects. It's kind of like the missing link that connects two phrases. And then I'll do this again. So that one little pull off connects that phrase, the first phrase, to this G run. So it's, if I didn't have it there, it would be like this. But with that little phrase, so I did this twice. So it's a down, pull off, up on a G, and then down again. And this whatever G lick you want to throw in there. So I know this is probably a lot outside your comfort zone. So we have now that's another thing I've just recently started doing. Tony Rice does that a lot. It's using the same shape. Usually I tend to walk the shape up. I go to the B string and then either go to the E string or go to that second note of the B string. But one thing Tony Rice does a lot is he skips the B string and hits the E string. So he does that a lot, and you can do that when you get up here too. What I'm doing here, I was just noodling around trying to try before and after notes and in between notes of the basic shape here. So I'm just messing around with those before and after notes and in between notes that are adjacent to and next to that main scale shape. And hope you had a chance to check out that video that I talked about improvising with using an easy scale for the key of D, and it talks about all those different ideas that I'm kind of going over right now. Hope you had a chance to check that out and download the what is that? The little PDF diagram that came with that. Okay, so what I recommend you doing is that you need to work on this. Let me get my thing going here. And when you work on this, what you're going to need to do is go ahead and practice getting from the low parts to the high parts. And don't forget this shape. thing there. Now once again we have these two notes that are just hanging out. Don't forget you can go after or before. So there's all over the place. You can find notes in there. As long as you know your main notes of the scale, it's not like you have to memorize every single note on the guitar. What the key is you memorize a few key notes, and then you kind of go forwards and backwards chromatically. You go either up half a step, back half a step, and then from there maybe up a whole step. So that's one you can do. It's not really used a lot. That is a first fret pull off. It's not used a lot for the key of G, but you can definitely use it and get away with it. So those are just some ideas. From there, what we'll probably do next week is go ahead and go over this in the key of A. Because what happens is you need to practice this in other keys because your dots completely rearrange whenever you put it in a capo position. Especially if we put a capo position on the key of A flat, which is the first fret. Then all your dots are totally going to be off because you've effectively moved the nut up half a step. Your dots still stay the same, so that kind of throws you off. And it's key for you to be able to practice that because one of these days you may be playing a jam somewhere and they want to go to the key of A or B flat. It's a really popular bluegrass key. Maybe even A flat. Some songs I sing in A flat. It's not more as popular as B flat, but the point is that you need to be used to kind of visualizing where you need to land in conjunction with where your dots are at any point in time. So for the record, the official thing when I go back and watch this movie, I need to remember that what I'm going to teach next week is going to be playing this in other keys using the capo. We'll probably do it in A flat, A, and B flat. And then once you get the hang of that, you can kind of just, you'll get an idea of how to think of things whenever you're playing these songs. And the other thing we'll be doing is I'm going to teach you another scale shape that's very popular that Tony Rice uses a lot. And it is a minor pentatonic scale. And it's used in the key of G. And it's very easy. Another thing is that it's a lot of the shapes. If you notice, these were the same shape. And then we had two of these same shape. And then we had the same shape as the first two. Okay? Now this one's the same shape. And we have one note here, and then a note here for that shape we want to work with. Well, the next thing is that you're going to notice little patterns like that. We'll have two of the same shape here, and the next string might be a little different, but it might share a same pattern with the string after that. So this one is going to be based on the minor pentatonic scale, and I'm going to show you what it looks like right here. And that's the key of G. You can use the minor pentatonic to get a more bluesy sound like that, more bluegrassy, hard driving sound. And for this, it's very important to learn this because of the fact that it is one of the most popular, if not the most popular, scale shapes used in bluegrass, country, rock, shred, you name it. Everybody that's not a jazz player, most jazz players use all the fancy notes and everything. But I'd almost guarantee you that all jazz players still know what a pentatonic scale is and what it looks like. So this is the main position. There's 5 positions total. This is the main position of the pentatonic scale. And what we're going to be doing next week is working with that, as well as playing Unclouded Day in the key of A flat, A, and B flat. And we'll try to incorporate a little bit of extra using the minor pentatonic scale. And so I want you to practice that shape. We're going to go to 3rd fret, and we got the 6th fret here. It's kind of a pinky stretch, a difference of 1, 2, 3 notes. The same shape on the next string, and then we got 3 of these whole steps, 5, 3, and then the last one's going to be identical to the first. And you always want to end on a G. So this is just a little extension, but always end on a G. And another thing that would be really cool to work on is working on half of the scale, practicing half the scale, and then practicing the other half of the scale. So that's a lot to learn for next week. We'll go ahead and sign off for today. It has been about 30 minutes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll go ahead and get off here. And I'll see you on the next video next week. We'll talk about that, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you then. So you have a great day, and I'll see you later. Thanks so much.